This is the solution for the 7BDS. The 7BDS consists of 2 crossing bands and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 outside bands. I'll now take the ring apart so you can see what the bands look like and identify them when they're apart. So the easiest way to identify the bands is you'll have 5 bands that are intertwined together, and then you'll have 2 bands that are by themselves. The 2 bands that are by themselves are the 2 top crossing bands. And the very top crossing band, when you run your finger across it, it's very smooth. The band that crosses underneath, when you run your finger across it, you can feel this dimple right here. So now I'm going to let these bands drop, and I'm going to identify the 5 outside bands. The 5 outside bands all have sort of some similarities to them. They all have these sort of angles. Now for this step, the first step in solving your puzzle ring is you got to make sure that these 5 outside bands are pointing opposite each other. Right now they're facing each other, so that's not the right position. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to let all 3 of these bands that are in my right hand, I'm going to let them drop. I'm going to bring them back up again. So you can see that they're facing opposite to each other. And this is how it should look. You should have 2 bands that point in one direction, and then 1, 2, 3 bands that point in the opposite direction. The other way I describe this step is putting them into the shape of a diamond. Now for this step, it's very important that you make sure all 5 bands drop to the same side. If you have them split up and dropped to opposite sides, they won't be in the correct position for the next step. So again, I'm going to put them together, and I'm going to have them drop to the same side. I always work with the ring face down, because gravity is my friend, and it's going to hold these into the position that I need them in. So now I'm going to work with the top 2 crossing bands. I always like to work with the dimpled band in my right hand. So I'm going to turn the ring, and this band, which is the very top band, is the smooth band. It's going to be in my left hand. So again, with the ring face down, you're going to watch how these 5 bands get trapped inside this dimpled band. I'm going to turn it clockwise, and then it's just going to rest right in there. Did you see how I did that? Let me repeat that. It's got almost like a hook to it. So gravity is my friend. It's holding those 5 bands, turning the dimpled band clockwise and resting it inside. And what's going to happen is those 5 outside bands are going to get trapped in a very nice figure 8. Some people will do this. I'll show you something. You'll have this dimpled band on the wrong side, and you can still trap it into a figure 8, but look what happens. This figure 8, this circle is bigger than this circle, so you know it's not right. And the reason it's not right is this dimpled band is on the wrong side, so all I do is this band, the top band, the smooth band, is always going to be stationary. So I'm just going to take the dimpled band, bring it all the way around, and turn the ring. So I'm going to repeat the step again so you can see it. Dimpled band facing down in my right hand, holds those 5 bands, turn it clockwise, and let it sit right in there, and then it makes a very nice clean figure 8. So now the next step with the 7BDS is very easy, because you need to start with the outermost band. And the way you know you have the outermost band is on the 7BDS you have 2 bands going in one direction and 3 bands going in the opposite. So you know that this 3rd band, because there's 1, 2, 3 here, you know that that's the outermost band. So again, I work with it face down, take this outermost band, make sure it's on top of all of these here, kind of get it up in there, and then take it so that this point turns into the figure 8, and then like a hinge on a door, I just close my door. So now I'm going to take the whole set of bands, a whole ring, I'm going to turn it around because I want to work with the other opposite side. take this outermost band, make sure it gets up on top of all those rings, turn it inside, and this space here is getting a little bit small. Right here, this space right here is getting a little bit small. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to let this band loose a little bit. See how I'm letting it loose here? And then it's going to make that hole a little bit bigger, and I can turn this band into it, and then like a hinge on a door, I'm going to close my door. Take the whole ring, turn it around, and again, working with the outermost band, making sure it's on top of the other ones. Turn it inside. Again, that space is getting really small, so I've got to let these bands loose. Like a hinge on a door, close my door. Take the whole ring, turn it around. Again, take this outermost band. You got to let all these bands really loose because that space is getting really, really tight. It's okay if at this step you can see they're kind of open like that. We'll fix it at the last point. So I'm going to take it, turn it around again, and I'm going to work with my last band now. This is the trickiest part because it's at this point where you're going to have to let all of these get really, really loose because this space needs to be big enough to fit this into it. But you don't want to be too loose because then the whole ring will fall apart. So you see how loose they are? Almost feels like it's going to fall apart too. And there you have the 7 BDS.